Welcome to the Great Wide Open Mic Podcast. I am your host and founder, Martin Murray, and I am so excited to begin this endeavor. I started the Great Wide Open Mic solely because I am in love with the process of writing songs and collaborating and finding musicians at various stages among their musical journey. I also love the music community, and I have extensive experience in both being in the great outdoors and studying nature, and also playing music for a long time. I stumbled upon this idea of starting this project and beginning a community that puts together live outdoor shows, often, seasonally, perhaps more occasionally. And I really stress involving as many artists and musicians as possible. The idea stems from my own background. I'm a professional musician, and I have been for over 20 years. I got my start in early high school, and I started playing music a lot, guitar and singing and writing songs, and played through several different bands and as a solo act, never to much success, but I was able to go on 3 multi-state tours, and that was an incredible experience. Each one of those, one was up and down all the colleges, not all of them, but a lot of college towns, mostly in California. It was about a month-long tour, and then a year or two later, my brother and I booked a cross-country tour and played in, 8 or 9 states. We played in Austin, Texas, and New Orleans, and Washington, D.C., and New York City, and Boston. And then several, I don't know if it was months or about a year later, we did a Pacific Northwest tour that went through California and Oregon and Washington. And all 3 of those tours, incredible experiences and super eye-opening. My favorite one probably was the one with my brother, because we both worked at an Outback steakhouse. And at that time, it was kind of in the very early stages. I think it was around 2005 or 6. There wasn't a ton of social media, but there was MySpace. And we were both working at Outback Steakhouse, and Outback had an incredible policy because they all used the same PosiTouch software system. So you could pick up any shift as long as you got proprietor's approval. You could pick up a shift in any Outback across the country. And so we scheduled a tour where we would play a couple shows per town, and then in our off nights, we would work in the local Outbacks because the shows weren't paying a ton of money. But we could play indefinitely on tour, and we stayed on tour for, I think, about 2 months, just working at Outback in between our shows. Was a blast, but perhaps the most eye-opening to me was that the life on the road was not as glamorous as I had envisioned in my high school days. And I was much more enamored with starting a family, getting married. And it's not to say that you can't do both, but in my head, I just didn't want to grind out and tour and play for the next decade and potentially miss out on people that wouldn't wouldn't love that lifestyle. So I went back to school and studied the environment. I've always been passionate about environmentalism, and I was stoked to start earning my degree in environmental studies. I went to Cal State East Bay, and I got my bachelor's degree in environmental studies. And not long after that, I was starting my own solo music project under the name Martin and the Green Guitar. I did this solely because I wanted a musical route where I could perform and play music during the day while my kids were in school, and I could get paid through schools by writing assemblies. And so I wrote a children's assembly for grades K through 6, where I played environmental tunes, original sing-along environmental songs that kind of inspire sustainability and treating the earth with respect. And I did that for many years, probably from about 2016, and still play shows under Martin and the Green Guitar to this day. Just had a wonderful run of 10 shows over 7 days, just around Earth Day 2026. Still very much love doing that, but I also, throughout my years, was also a host of an open mic for about 10 years at a live music venue called the Mojo Lounge in Fremont, California. And there I met some wonderful people and just really enjoyed the jamming nature of an open mic, of a pretty informal open mic where people showed up and got at the list, and sometimes it was super dead and we just jammed on stage for hours, and other times we had dozens of people show up and we listened to people of all skill sets, where someone who's just learning their first 3 chords goes right before a very talented jazz player. And I really loved that community. I really love just the thought of being in a room with people who can vary so greatly in talent and skill and experience, but they all have this underlying need and love to just perform music and listen to music and be around others who like music. And that's what sparked, I think, the joy in hosting open mics and encouraging others who maybe only play in their bedroom and are super afraid of getting on stage, and just showing them that it's not anything to be afraid of. If anything, it's quite the opposite. It's something to be celebrated and shared, and then largely, I kind of evolved into the Great Wide Open Mic, not only for my love of nature and not only for my love of open mics, but also because I really lately have been kind of diving into the archaeology and history of music within humans and just how integral it is to our lives and our experience on this earth. And it's bordering just mystical journey that humans have been playing music for longer than they have organized religion. Humans have been playing music for longer than we've had written language. There's evidence that we were carving holes into bones and making instruments 40,000 years ago. And so after learning and reading about that, it's just gotten me to a place where I feel like, and I'm starting to see connections where in almost every society or almost every culture or tribe or any small community of humans where we have any kind of archaeological evidence, 2 things remain almost a constant, and that is there's always some form of religion or some form of mythology, and there's also always some form of music that was a part of their culture. And that fascinates me. And I want to build just on that thought alone, that I believe wholeheartedly that music is a force of nature that brings us together and creates so much joy and creates so much relief from pain and creates or just envelops our minds in times of need and can just console us and bring us solace in the worst times. I recently lost my father to cancer, and I'm not, I'm not a deeply religious man by any means, but I am very, very grateful that I had music in my life, because I just went very heavy into listening to his favorite songs and songs that remind me of him. And I just can't overstate the healing nature of good music and music that just warms your soul. And the closer I get to those thoughts, they're not polished thoughts by any means. And this is not a well thought out organization that I'm starting. The Great White Open Mic is literally just a spark of an idea that I'm hoping to build. And I'm hoping that you all want to be included and want to contribute in any way that you can, whether you're an artist, a visual artist, a photographer, a logo creator, or whether you're a musician or a songwriter or, a videographer, or even if you're just a lover of music or a lover of podcasts. Like, the beautiful thing about music is that I think it is universal in that there's no one I've met that doesn't like or is moved by music, and it's such a unique thing, and so yeah, I'm so stoked and so excited to kind of build upon this little spark that I have, and I've said it before in little videos and stuff that I've posted, but I really don't care if it makes no money, if it only costs me money. I believe that the joy that I will get from chatting with others and writing songs with others and listening to what others create and collaborate on and pull together, the joy and the inherent beauty in that alone is worth the effort. And so, it's with that in mind that I just start this and start connecting with you all. This will likely be the only podcast episode in which I only talk by myself. I am currently in just my small band room in my house, alone with an idea, but I know many artists and I know many musicians, and I plan on inviting you all to come talk with me, because really this podcast is not only about creating music, but it's also about sharing experiences and sharing the joy of music, sharing the successes and the failures, and what has worked for you and what hasn't. I really want to dive into and be a resource for musicians that are maybe just getting started and have no idea how to book a show or how to tune a guitar or how to do anything like that, connect with other band members. How do you run a band rehearsal? Why do band members always show up late to gigs? Why are drummers so hard to communicate with sometimes? Things like that. I definitely want to learn and hear from you all. I believe that I have a very mild, medium amount of knowledge that I could share, but that would help people get more bookings and encourage them to keep going when they're not getting their responses from their outreach to clubs and venues. But I know that I have only a finite amount of stories and resources, and I would love to hear yours as well, because I know a lot of successful people, and I know a lot of very, very talented musicians. And really, my goal is to just bounce our brains together, maybe write some songs in the process, and then it all culminates into a seasonal show outdoors. I'm actually really excited because at our shows, at least the first ones that we're going to start organizing here, I'll get to use I have a one-of-a-kind solar-powered PA that I can bring anywhere I want. That I use a nice large lithium-ion battery to power my amp and my PA, so that we can go play places that maybe have never been played before. I have several dreams. In fact, my hometown of Fremont, California has a large mountain called Mission Peak right next to it. And I've hiked it many times. I've hiked it with my children. I shouldn't say it's a large mountain, but it's large for the city. And it takes several hours to hike. And I've always had a dream of playing a show up there at the top. So that's one of many locations that I hope to play at and bring my gear up there. And I envision, going up there with a group, and we all carry one item to the top, and then we put it all together and we play a show together. And in this process, I think that another fun idea is that I know in the process I intend to record and create plenty of content along the way so that I can share the journey. And then also, I very much intend to make this a place where we can all potentially make money off of streaming and royalties, and I want to explore the ideas of sync licensing and any songs that we create as an organization, that we are of equal shares and decision making, because I really love the potential of the collaborative effort and just what human minds can come up with. This is also an organization that I think is going to be a counter to the AI world and the AI music that you see coming out these days. I very much think that on the flip side of the AI embracing that everyone seems to be doing in the corporate sectors, I think that there is going to be a small but important and meaningful pushback on AI that leans more heavily on human connection and being around humans and communicating face to face with humans and experiencing a live show rather than something artificial. Because going to a live show, as many of you know, is just about as magical an experience as there is that exists on Earth. I've been to many shows before and just been absolutely floored and overcome with emotions and joy, unlike anything else I've ever experienced. And it's wild to me that can happen with just some reverberating strings and synthesizers and drums. But I know it exists because I've felt it in my bones, and I can't wait to share more experiences like that with you all. And so, yeah, with that, I'd like to just introduce myself once again. That my name is Martin Murray, and I am so excited to begin this project called the Great Wide Open Mic, in which there is no clear definition yet of what we are, other than a community of musicians and artists that play music for the sake of music and for the inherent good that it brings to this earth, and that we intend to do that for as long as my body and my voice will allow. So yeah, I welcome you all, and I'm so excited to meet you all, and hope that you guys are all well, and that there's plenty of good music in your life. And I hope that you know that regardless of your skill, whether you are a trained classical artist or you have literally never picked up a guitar, that there is a place for you in the Great Wide Open Mic. Can't wait to meet you. Cheers.